So to discuss this topic with me is my amazing friend and brother, Pastor Elias. What should I call you? Okay, let me
Who is not a proper child? But I just used to believe in my own Bible says that when they saw him, there was this glory of God inside
me. I was an unwanted child. Like, I was literally an unwanted child. Although I wasn't shown that. But they were not expecting me. They never wanted me. Like, as the last child, they felt, they gave birth to 3 and that was enough.
Yeah.
So to discuss this purpose, okay. That reminds me, while growing up, we'll feel like, why was I giving birth in Nigeria? Like, why?
Yes, everybody
why am I in this part of the world?
For God's sake.
Like, for goodness sake, of all countries.
Countries in the world. Why Nigeria?
Why Nigeria? But it just still boils down to the fact that God had a plan. Guys, welcome to today's edition of Life Issues with Faith, and we're going to be discussing a very integral topic that I want you guys to all pay attention, because you will learn a lot and find answers to some of your deep questions in your heart about life. Now, in a world where we have a lot of resources, a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge, we tend to lose ourselves because there is a lot we can pick from to do. But we need to understand that we are here for a reason. We are here on earth for a purpose. And so we'll be discussing a very important topic, which says finding your purpose and passion in life. To discuss this important topic, I have an amazing person in the house, Elias. He's my friend and brother, and he has been in this purpose discovery journey with people, which I know he's going to say a lot today. So we need to understand what actually is purpose.
That's right.
What do we understand when we say purpose discovery? When we say I'm here for a reason, what do we really mean? What is purpose in itself? What do you understand by it? Because I think an adage says when the purpose of something is not known, abuse is inevitable. When the purpose of something is not known, abuse is inevitable. So what is purpose?
For me, I would say purpose is that thing that you are born to do. That is what sets you aside, who sets you special from every other person around you. And purpose is, I would say, it's beyond you, and it existed before you were born, before you came out of your mother's womb. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 4-5 says, before I formed you, I knew you, and I have ordained you to be a prophet to the nations. And that passage resonates a lot, the fact that God was not mistaken about you. Before your parents gave birth to you, God knew you. He had you in mind, and He already ordained exactly what He wants you to do. So you are not a mistake. You are not a pre-thought. You are not an afterthought. You are not your dad just likes your mommy. Let's have a baby. No.
Actually,
so that is what purpose means to me. Something you are born to do, and that is why everyone deserves to find their purpose, because it defines everything.
Very true. Everyone deserves to find their purpose, because I feel you finding your purpose really give you that sense of fulfillment in life. You can be doing something for years, but you're just doing it for maybe the money's sake, doing it for I need to do something.
Actually,
but it's not giving you a sense of fulfillment. It's not giving you a sense of I am born for this.
Yes.
And there are some things you do, you just know within you. No, I am born for this, because you find fulfillment in it. You find fulfillment in it. Although yes, we find fulfillment in God.
That's right.
We know that.
That's right.
That is established already.
Yeah.
So, but God created us for a purpose. Like you said,
That's true.
nobody was given birth to an afterthought,
Yeah.
or because your mom and your dad got married and your mom was impregnated and she gave birth to you, boom. No. God had a plan.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And that was why you came.
Very true.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to settle with that fact.
Yes, God had a plan in mind
And then
and created you.
Yes.
Just like a manufacturer who, conceived an idea.
Right.
Okay, I want to build an app.
Mm.
An app that would help people to, connect to each other,
That's
that would build people's bond
Yeah.
and all. And the app was created.
Yes. Yes.
So it's just like that. God had a plan in mind. God had an idea in mind, and you were prepared for it.
Exactly.
You came up in his
In
mind.
his mind.
Yeah.
So we first existed in the
In his mind
of
of God.
That is very important.
Yes, we
So,
first existed
yes,
in the mind of God.
So when God saw some things that was going on earth, we came to his mind and was like, okay, this my son, okay, this my daughter would be perfectly molded to solve this particular problem. So that is why you are not a mistake. The time of your birth, the location where you are giving birth to, your parents, all of that constituted as a major part of what your purpose will be about. God specifically chose your background, He chose your family, He chose your location, everything about your childhood was like crafted in together by God for purpose.
Yes, and that reminds me, while growing up, we'll feel like, why was I giving birth to in Nigeria? Like, why?
Yes, everybody
Why am I in this part of the world?
For God's sake. Yes.
Like, for goodness sake, of all
countries.
countries.
Of countries in the
Yeah.
world. Why Nigeria?
Why Nigeria? But
Yeah.
it just still boils down to the fact that God had a plan.
Yes.
Even sometimes, sometimes we ask the question, why was I giving birth to in this family?
His family.
Am I not Otedola's daughter?
Yes. But
Or, Dangote's daughter?
daughter.
But no,
No.
God had a plan.
Yes.
Even to the point of where we are giving birth
Yes. I
to,
tell
God
you,
had a plan.
God
Like the
had a plan.
family we are giving
Yes.
birth to,
Yes.
God had a
God had a
plan.
plan.
Wow.
The timing, the
Wow.
particular year,
Wow.
and is beautiful because usually if you read history a lot, revival moves, the things God has done in time past, you would see that they specifically explain things that were happening in the country around when God's generals were born. Were given birth to. For example, for John Wesley, if you are a student of history, John Wesley was the man God used to create the Methodist Church, the whole revival. Now, John Wesley was born exactly a year after, exactly 100 years after some guys gathered together to start intercession for revival in that same territory where John Wesley was born. They were praying every day for 100 years. Some children were birthed in that space of 100 years. Some died again. So it was 100 years. Just after the 100 years completion of that intercession, John Wesley was born. So historians were very apt to point out that that was the situation surrounding the birth of John Wesley.
Yeah.
So it matters that you are not born in 1999. It matters that you were born in 2000. Very, very important.
Well, I'm 1990s people.
Okay.
But actually, it really matters
Yeah.
that you're not giving birth to in a certain generation,
Yes.
or a certain generation,
Yes.
or the generation of our fathers. Why am I a millennial?
Exactly.
So why am I a Gen Z? It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
God had a plan.
Yes,
God had
it
something
does.
in mind. It also reminds me of Moses. Moses was given birth to in the time where the Israelites were suffering a lot
Yes.
in the hands of the Egyptians.
Yes.
Moses was not given birth to during Abraham's
During
time.
Abraham's time. Yes.
It was given birth to at that time that the Israelites were going through oppression.
Yes.
And he was given birth to be a deliverer. And so the circumstances around his birth was pointing to that purpose
Yes.
why it was
Why
created.
it was created.
So purpose is a very big deal.
Yeah. still on that same part.
Okay.
This also defines why we were named exactly the way we were named. That is, purpose also matters a lot in the names our parents gave us.
Yeah, we're going there.
Because for Moses, his name was his parents were so careful not to name him until he entered into the beginning stage of God's purpose for his life. Because like you said, he was given birth to at a very dangerous time. A time where there is a bounty on every male child. So far you're a male child, or guy, you are gone.
Yeah, so the probability that he was even going to die was there.
The chances, it was very high. In fact, normally he was meant to die. So, but the Bible said, the Bible says, the parents saw him and they believed that he was a proper child. That word always confuses me. A proper child. Who is not a proper child? But I just used to believe in my own Bible says that when they saw him, there was this glory of God inside him. And they were like, you will not die.
But they had this intuition.
Yes.
This intuition in their heart that this is not just an ordinary child.
Yes.
And sometimes some of our parents tells us this. That while I conceived you, certain things happened to me, and I know that you are not just an ordinary person. So even everybody is unique.
Everybody is unique. If a woman gives birth to 3-4 children, she knows the circumstances that surrounds the birth of every one of them, and it sort of tells her how to handle each of these children.
Just like me, I was an unwanted child. Like I was literally an unwanted child. Although I wasn't shown that. But they were not expecting me. They never wanted me. Like as the last child, they felt, they've given birth to 3 and that was enough.
Yeah. And
circumstances around that time, they didn't have too much to nurture a child, so they were not expecting a child. So when my mom got pregnant, she was like, "What? This is not the right time to be pregnant." So I was like an unwanted child.
Yeah.
But there was a reason. Now you cannot see why I was named Faith. Because they had to have faith.
And that is the point.
From the conception to the birth. So they knew that this one, she's a miracle child. So that was how the name Faith came, because they knew what it means to have faith
through a journey
for that season that they didn't have the strength and the capacity to do.
Yeah.
And so our birth also, gives a pointer. We've discussed what purpose really is.
Yes.
And that leads us to the aspect of how do we find purpose and passion in life, because our passion also connects us back to our purpose.
That's right.
Yes, because what we are passionate about, the pointer.
Yeah.
So is it like a green light?
Yes,
so our purpose. Yes. So how do we find that purpose? Why we are here?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
To find purpose, it is first very important to know that our purpose points us back to God. Like we said, God is the originator of purpose. There is no product without a manufacturer.
Yeah.
So that means there is no creation without the creator.
Yes.
So it is wrong to start your purpose journey with yourself. So to discover your purpose, to find your purpose, you need to first go back to your manufacturer, God. So I always tell people that purpose discovery starts with God discovery.
Yes.
So it starts with God discovery. It is in your journey of finding God that you now find yourself. Because if you don't know Him, you cannot know yourself.
Yes.
And to put that into context, if you watch movies very well, you will see that each script writer, their stories says a lot about them. Their story, what they write, it says a lot about. So when you are trying to find out why they wrote some kind of stories, you only need to read their background.
It will
reflect in why they made some things to look like this, why they make things to look like this. So in the same way, it is going to be totally wrong for you to find your purpose just by looking at yourself first, looking inward without first knowing God. So until you understand those basic things about God, that will be number one. God is love.
Yes.
God is love. God is the definition of love, and God depicted to us that the greatest dimension of love is sacrifice, when He sent Jesus to die for our sins. So when you know God and you begin to relate with Him, then in your relationship with God, it begins to show pointers to why you are here.
I'm a strong believer of once you start your journey with God,
Yeah.
once you come to the point where you acknowledge and you receive what Christ has done on the cross, and you become a believer,
Yeah.
your purpose journey starts.
Yes, actually.
The purpose discovery starts.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't even necessarily, yes, it is good to ask God, why am I here?
That's true.
But because there is this, it's just like a socket and a plug. Once you
Yes.
put that plug into the socket and you switch it on,
Yes.
it starts to function well.
Honestly.
It starts to
Yes.
work well. So you begin to come, your being, your existence
Comes alive.
begins to come alive. You begin to find expression
That's true. That's
because you are already connected to your source.
to yourselves. And to just add up to what you're saying, actually, I am a strong believer through scriptures. I'm a strong believer of the fact that long before every man search for purpose, God has been trying to communicate purpose to us.
Yes.
So once you start running after God, that you want to know Him, you want to get to know Him, it's just like two words coming together into one. So once you plug into God, God begins to rush all of those things to you. That's why I tell people, all you need to do is to be lost in your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Within months of starting your relationship with God, God will begin to give you pointers to what He wants you to do. It will just begin to show up. You'll just discover that your journey is tilting towards a particular side.
Yes.
And then some of the things God will be leading you to do, programs God will be leading you to attend, orchestrated meetings. You just be like, you will be like, if somebody playing games with my head, and that's God trying to work this out. In the school of purpose, there's something we call it the principle of turning aside. And that word is from the story of Moses. How he got to a point in his life where he was trying to outsource life through himself, and this is a point in the school of purpose as well. You cannot fulfill purpose on your own. You have to outsource purpose through God.
Yes.
You have to. So purpose is beyond that. Motivational speakers will tell you that thing, that's your desire, that's your passion. So passion is not purpose. I love the fact that you pointed it out, that your passion is a pointer to your purpose. Passion is not your purpose, because Moses had a passion. He wanted to liberate the Israelites.
Yeah.
So he was using carnal weapons to fight the spiritual battle. And then
it was also a pointer.
It was a pointer.
That thing is inherent in him.
Yes.
That's been built in him to always deliver.
Yes.
Do you know that even after he left Egypt, and he went and he ran away to this place, Jethro,
in Midian.
In Midian.
Yeah.
When he met Jethro's daughters, do you know he also delivered them?
Yes.
At the well.
So
it's an inherent thing.
Yes. So you will always do things subconsciously that will communicate purpose to you. That is when our parents see some of the things we are doing later in life, it leads them to cry, because they will start saying things like, "You are doing this when you were young. You are doing this." I think it was Pastor Jereze that said it recently, that he's a pastor. For some of you that know Pastor Jereze, so he was ministering, and then it happened that the person that got the testimony that he was praying about was his primary school teacher. So somebody connected his primary school teacher to the ministry and all. So when the primary school teacher saw him, that mix of emotion. So he was now telling the primary school teacher that, "Ma, this is the same boy that was preaching when he was in primary 4. I think he used to preach in class. And he used to preach in this woman's class." So he was now telling that teacher again, now obviously she's an old age already, that this is your boy. That 7-year-old boy that used to preach then, I'm still doing that same preaching now. So although he would definitely not know what God would do with his life like we know it now, but this also showed that he could have been playing ball, he could have been doing other things as at that time. So all of these pointers about purpose, like she said, is inherent. So it occurs naturally. That is why I used to tell people, when people tell us that you don't need God to fulfill purpose, there are people that are singing, there are people that are acting, and they are doing well in their fields. But what they are expressing is more of passion. It's passion. So, but when it's purpose, it has to be connected to God, and it must be outsourced by God. Because God, so back to what we are saying about the principle of turning aside. So you must get to a point. So Moses got to a point in his life where he discovered that this purpose thing is not going to work if he is not helped. He needed help.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to help these guys and did not even see it.
Trying to do it in his
Yes.
own,
It was like,
power.
guys, I'm here to deliver it. And they're like, who made you a leader over us? Heartbreak. He died. The man Moses died that day, as far as I was concerned. So I'm like, can't you see what I can do? I'm a prince in Egypt. I can fight. I did not see it. So now, 40 years later, the Bible says that a bush was burning, but it was not consumed. And then Moses said, I will turn and watch this show. So that's the principle of turning aside. So what that communicates to us is, at the point where we are sincerely ready to know God and discover God for our lives, God begins to initiate the process of discovering our purpose. He begins to show us all those pointers.
Yes.
So purpose discovery starts with God. But that's not all. After your God discovery, you now need to discover yourself.
Yes.
I call it looking inward.
Yes. I call it that too. You have to look within.
Yes, you need to look within.
Sit with yourself, have a self-reflection, self-evaluation. Look back, the track records, what has been happening, the past experiences. There is a way.
Yes.
And you see it.
Yeah. So we have this acronym that we usually use to explain how to look inward.
Okay.
To understand yourself. We have what's it called? Personality. That's P. You need to discover your personality.
Yes.
Your personality says a lot of things about you. We talk about A. That is your abilities. Then we talk about C. That is your C talks about your compassion, the state of your heart. So compassion talks about your heart. What do you like? What does your heart breathe for? Like what are you compassionate about?
Yeah, what are you drawn to?
What are you drawn to? Don't worry, we are going to get into business. And then the E is now experience.
Okay.
So P, your personality, your abilities, your compassion, and your experience. So the four of them come together. So pace. So for your P, your personality talks a lot about you. You know, your personality talks about your character, your temperament. And then your personality. So those three comes together. It first starts with temperament. Your temperament is it's something you are born with. You inherit your temperament from at least 6 people. Sorry, I'm a personal development coach, so it's what we do.
Yeah.
So you got your temperament from your paternal grandparents, your maternal grandparents, and then your parents. So you are a mix of 6 unique people coming together. Wow. So we have 4 of them. We have choleric, we have melancholic, we have sanguine, and the phlegmatic. I'm not going into all of that today. So, but your personality says a lot about you. So it starts with your temperament, like I said. Your temperament, there's nothing you can do about it. It is who you are. Like at the beginning.
Yes.
Then we now have your character. Your character is your refined temperament. So your character means your temperament that has been worked upon by your environment, your parents, the schools you attend, the friends you keep. So they are the things that that has now refined what your temperament is to form your character. Yeah. So, but there is a third part, your personality. Your personality is the part of you choose to show to the world.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So you can be hard inside, you can be wicked. But when you get to front of people, hi. So your character is the real you. But your personality is the you that you show to the world. So that is why for you to change your habits, for you to do a lot of things about yourself, what you need to correct is your character, not your personality. Okay. Yes, because once you change your character, once you work well on your character, it's going to have a positive effect on your personality. So that is what the personality aspect looks about. You need to check who you are. Are you an outgoing person? Yeah. Are you someone that loves to stay indoors all days? Are you a crusader? Somebody that you are always fighting for what is good for others?
Are you a deep thinker?
Yes. Are you analytical?
Yeah. Are you analytical?
Do you like supporting people, or you like to start things of your own?
True. Would you like helping people?
Yeah. Do you like?
I think Moses is a flag. Yes. We call Moses a flag.
Yes. We'll call Moses in temperament. We'll call him
choleric.
It's choleric. We'll call him he's a mixture of a choleric and then phlegmatic.
Because he was meek also.
Yes, he was
that meek part of him.
That meek part of him. And the way he withdrew for 40 years. Like that one, he died. He died.
If he's a choleric,
Yes.
he will not be drawn.
Yeah, obviously. So he has the leadership. He's a born leader. Moses is the kind of person that you call a born leader, a crusader. He wants to stand for the truth. And we saw all of that when God told him to go back to Egypt to deliver the Israelites.
Yes.
That aspect of him really came out big time. So, but the phlegmatic in him also showed when he was giving God plenty excuses. Exodus chapter 3 was giving God 3 to 4 excuses that I know they go anywhere. That's the phlegmatic. Phlegmatics eventually they don't end up living up to their potential. That's the downside of them that they need to work on, because they always ask the question, what if it fails? What if people reject me? So
they're people conscious.
Yes, they are people conscious. They read the room. Their backgrounds. They are usually the backgrounds. We call them spectators of life. So they will, before they act on one thing, they will have thought about the aftermath 120 times. So and usually they are as smart and they are as energetic as the choleric.
Yeah.
Or everything a choleric can do, a phlegmatic can do. So, but if a choleric doesn't think twice before doing this action, but phlegmatic, no, what would they say?
Flex, they are not action takers. Like, it takes time for them to take an action and all. Yeah. And I think that's why most of them, by the time they thrive, they are able to, because they have that part in them, they're able to think, go through the future, think through things before they take action.
Yes.
And it saves them sometimes.
Actually, it saves them a lot of issues, because eventually they make very good decisions and they stick to them.
Okay. That's all about temperaments.
Yes. So that's personality.
Yeah.
So then we have your abilities, the things you can do. So I used to, usually in the school of purpose, I tell people to write out the list of the things they can do well. Effortlessly. There's talent, there are talents, and then there are skills. Both of them comes together to form your abilities.
Okay.
Talents are things that you just find yourself doing them. They are naturally occurring. Then you have your skills, things that you have to learn in one way or the other. So when they come together, we call them your abilities. You can sing, you can write, you love talking, you love bringing people together. Maybe you love marketing things. You find yourself doing one business or the other. So all of those things, they are your abilities. They are pointers to the things God will have you do.
Yeah.
Because God will never make you. It won't give you a purpose that will not be interesting to you. And put it that way.
Okay.
So it's not something that will bore you out. It must be something you are skilled to do. Yes. Purpose must be something you are skilled to do. That's
the skill, you have to, learn the skill, or the skill is already inherent.
Like I said, what we call abilities is a mixture of your naturally occurring talents and the skills that you learn. Let me give you an example now. I love music. Growing up, I know how to play drums, but I had to learn how to play the piano, the keyboard. So now, playing keyboard has given me a lot of platforms. It has carried me to a lot of places that I wouldn't have imagined myself going, like doing in life. Now, playing the keyboard can be a pointer to what my purpose is. So going back to what we said earlier, is a passion for me to play keyboard, but it's not my purpose. How can you play keyboard be your purpose? No, it's a pointer to what you are going to do. Maybe you playing keyboard will not mean that you play on big stages where Jesus is glorified. That's purpose. It can be that you will play keyboard in big events that will raise money for charity. That's the purpose.
I think the end goal of purpose is that people must be touched.
Yes. So
you get it's connected to people.
Purpose is about, we have some things we call the laws of purpose. One of them is, number one, you are not created for yourself, you are created for others. You are created for others.
Yeah, actually, I think people need to understand that the purpose thing is not about you.
No.
It's about your contribution to the world. Your contribution to impact life, to make this world a better place.
And my purpose tells me that, it always says that your purpose must do two things. It must glorify God and lead to the betterment of the human society. So those two things, they must be evident in you.
So it's not even about you.
No, it's not about you. And it's a basic principle of life. When you give things out, there's a way it flows back to you. But when you hold on to things, you lose them. So purpose is not about you,
Yeah.
about others. So as you pour into others, there's a way life rewards values. And then it comes back to you in form of influence, it comes back to you in form of cash, in form of money, in form of relationships.
Yeah.
And relationship, I say, is everything. So let's not forget.
Okay.
So that's that. So your abilities, so it must be something that you know how to do, something you know how to do. Your abilities, they are pointers to what God will have you do.